Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Living Light Vibrant Living Expo and Culinary Showcase. And our first presenter this morning is Martine Lussier. Martine Lussier is a
Thank you.
Martine is our culinary programs manager and full-time instructor at Living Light Culinary Institute. She's a certified professional raw food chef who is passionate about nutrition and culinary arts. Martine is an active sportswoman who knows the fine value of raw vegan cuisine and the raw foods for health and vitality. She loves developing new recipes and teaching others how to prepare healthful, promoting foods for themselves and their families. Martine's a colleague of mine, and I extremely love working with her. She's a little dynamo. This year we're not handing out recipes, but you can pick them up downstairs in our store and at registration. All the recipes are in here for all the presenters here in the culinary classroom. So you could follow along, but we welcome you to take notes if you didn't already get your little booklet, and or pick them up on your way out. So here's Martine.
Okay, thank you, Vanette. Okay, good morning, everyone. I am really excited to be the first one. I'm breaking the ice. Okay, so, yes? Of course I will. So I am going to talk to you about Chia this morning. So I am making 2 recipes. And I cannot make it without my lovely assistant, Chris DeMarcus, from San Diego. And Chris was here for the last 7 weeks? At least 7 weeks. So she just did graduate. Now she is a raw gourmet chef, okay? And she will be my assistant, okay? And of course, after my demo, you will enjoy a sample, as all of the demos during the day of today and tomorrow and Sunday. But I love Chia, okay? And to me, as Vanette was introduced me, I am an active woman. I have a lot of energy, and I need something to keep me going. And Chia, for me, is a good answer. It's pretty good for you, and I will give you more information about that. So the thing that I want to do first is I am going to make the bread, okay? So it's a sunny chia bread, okay, that is scented with figs, rosemary, and fennel, and black olives. So it's more like Mediterranean flavors. And yesterday we were having leftover of heirloom tomatoes. You don't have the recipe in your booklet, but it's pretty easy. So I will guide you on that. And it's going to be served with a garlic butter that you have in your recipe booklet as well. And then after that, we're going to switch to, I'm going to show you how to make candies using chia again, okay? So the first thing that I want to do before I giving you too much information about chia, I'm going to show you how chia expand so fast, okay? So here, for my chia pudding, you will use 2 cups of water, okay, with a 1/2 cup of chia seeds, okay? And those are the chia seeds right here, okay? And usually they grow south of the United States, or in Mexico, or in Australia. So this is the 3 countries usually where they grow mostly. The thing that you want to do when you are soaking chia is you want to pour your water first and then add the seeds. If you're doing the opposite, it's just going to create clumps. You're going to get a gel at some points, but you're going to work too hard. And please don't go there. I've learned the hard way. I've done it. It was a big batch, and I had to take my gloves and just go in there and just smooth it out, which takes a long time. So what you need to do, and here I have 2 cups of filtered water, of course, okay? And then I am going to add my 1/2 cup of chia. So I just need to sprinkle my chia here, okay? And then I am going to take a whisk and just whisk it. Not much to do right now, okay? I just want to make sure that my chia seeds are soaking into my water. I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to come back to the chia mixture here in about 2 minutes, okay? So thank you very much, Chris. So talking about chia, okay, it's a nutritional richness with few calories. So this is really nice if you want to replace any fat into your recipes or any sweetener. chia is expanding. So, and of course, it's full of omega-3 and 6, which is a good fat. So if at some point, if you are making recipes and you want to reduce the fat, like if you want to reduce coconut oil or olive oil or any kind of other fat, you can use chia. Okay, this is the magic, one of the magic thing about the chia seeds. Okay, and of course, it is full of antioxidant. It's a good source of protein, a good source of calcium, magnesium, and iron. Okay, and at the same time, it's good for people who want to lose weight or manage weight, okay, because you don't need that much, okay, to eat, and it's going to keep you filled, okay, for hours. It's really good for people who are really active, not only like me, but for people that are athletes, okay, because what's happening with the chia, as you know, it will expand, okay, because of, it absorbs a lot of water, okay, and then after that, it releases the carbohydrate in a slow conversion. So there's a slow conversion of the carbohydrate, okay? So the sugar will be released to give you energy, but on a slow conversion, okay? So this is really good for diabetes and for athletes again. So you can have a big bowl of chia seeds in the morning, a chia gel, maybe with banana and all that. You can eat that. Then after that, you can go and exercise, and you will be gone, okay? For maybe not hours, but for a long time. Okay, so this is why chia is magic again. And of course, I talked about it's a good source of protein, a good source of fibers as well. Okay, it lowers cholesterol too. So it's a superfood. Okay, and I love working with superfoods. So why don't we bring this here right up front, and I can have Chris whisking it for you. And as you see, on the top there was a little coat of the chia. And you saw that Chris was having a hard time, not a hard time, but she had to go in deep in there to whisk it because it's getting, thicker and thicker, okay? So it takes like about maybe 15 minutes to your chia to expand. Maybe not in a large amount, okay, but like here right now, half a cup of a chia with 2 cups of water. In 15 minutes, 10 minutes, my chia gel will be ready. If you want to make a large batch of chia, what I will recommend you is to start with a small amount like this, and then you can add water 10 times, okay? So you can add the same amount of water 10 times. So if I'm having half a cup of chia seed with 2 cups of water, okay, so 10 times half a cup will be 5 cups. So I can add to 5 cups of water into my gel right now. So if you're making a large batch, like I said, I will recommend you to start with a small batch, and then you would add water and whisk it again and let it expand, and then add more water, let it expand until you reach the amount that you are looking for, okay? And then after that, the gel is ready to use. Like I said, in dressing, and today we're gonna make bread, you can make pudding of that too, a lot of recipes. Some people are using it when they are making mayonnaise, mustard, so it's pretty good, okay? So I'm just going to go back to my notes here to see if I didn't miss anything. Like I said, it's a good fat replacer. And if you want to use it as a sweet, not sweet replacer, but if you are using chia, you will use less sweet than you would normally do in regular recipes. Like I said, it's an antioxidant. Okay, so we always recommend to people not to eat chia dry because, like I said, it's a, like you see, it absorbs a lot of water, so it can have some dehydrating effect. So if you are eating chia, make sure that you drink a lot of water, okay, because it can dehydrate you, okay? And we talked about that. So, okay, so let's swing to those recipes. So why don't you come over here, Chris, and just see if there's a little difference. So as you see, it's getting pretty thick, and we're doing this maybe for the last 5 or 7 minutes. So as I am going to have my mixture here in my food processor ready, then when I'm going to add my chia gel, it's going to be a little bit thicker. Okay? Okay, so we can put this aside, please. And then I am going to, we're going to put together the recipe. So, of course, we're going to need a food processor, okay? I would not recommend a Vitamix because what I'm going to put in here doesn't have enough liquid. So I'm going to use the food processor because I'm looking for homogenized texture or mixture. So I'm having 2 cups of sunflower seed, and as you know, of course, if you are a student at Living Light, you know that we label everything. So, and it's always good if you live in a community or if you have a lot of stuff going on in the refrigerator, 2 cups of flour seed for the bread, and you can have 4 cups of sunflower seed for something else, so you won't mess up with recipes. So those have been soaking for about 2 hours, and I do that just to soften these sunflower seeds. And I don't keep the soaking water. I just toss it, okay? And then after that, I am just going to put my sunflower seeds in here, okay? And I want to scrape everything that I have in my jar. Okay, and then I'm not going to use this anymore. Thank you. Okay, and then after that, in your recipe, it says to put all together in the food processor the sunflower seed, the drain and chopped figs. So I am going to use figs, and those are dry figs. They always come with the little stem here, so you want to make sure to remove the stem before soaking, okay? Because this is will never kind of break down, and you will have a really kind of harsh mouthfeel, you know, into your bread. So my little figs here were soaked for maybe 30 minutes, right? And Chris removed all of the stem this morning. Whoops. And now I need to drain the water. And this water is not bad at all. You can use it for putting in your smoothie the next morning or later in during the day. And sometimes I like to keep that water just in case if my batter is a little bit too dry in here, then I would add a little bit of my soaked water, okay? So then what I need to do is I need just to put my figs, okay? I want to make sure to help my food processor. This is a really powerful machine, but at the same time, I'm looking for a really nice and smooth texture. And by chopping my figs, I'm just going to help my S-blade, okay, to give me a really nice batter. So it doesn't need to be perfectly chopped, okay? So as you see, I am using a chef knife here. Okay, and then I'm having a little bit more of my soaked figs here. And here you go. And they need to be soft. If your figs are soft enough, you don't need to soak them. You can omit this process. Okay. And I am going to add my figs. So I did use first 1 cup of figs. Okay, and then I had some water, enough water to cover it. So you don't need to remeasure your figs after that, right? Okay, so then after that, what I am going to do, I'm just going to refer to the recipe, and then I need to put the tamari, the ground fennel, and the garlic. So tamari, I have half a tablespoon of tamari in my food processor here, okay? And then I am going to add 1 teaspoon, okay, of ground fennel. If you have the fennel, you know, that are already whole fennels, you can take a mortar, yeah, thank you, to just crush it, or you can use a herb grinder or coffee grinder. Just make sure there's no coffee beans in there. And just add it into your other ingredients in here. Thank you. And then I am going to add more garlic. So in your recipe, it says 2 cloves of garlic. And usually when there's no exact measurement, when we are saying like 1 zucchini or 1 cucumber, usually we are looking for medium size, okay? And as you see here, my garlic here are pretty big, okay? So only 1 will make it, okay? So you just want to make sure to be aware about that. And I am going to use a microplane, so I'm going to puree my garlic, okay? This is a really handy tool that we like to use, not only here, but I have one at home too. And it's just puree your garlic. You can use it for zesting. You can use it for puree garlic or ginger. Any use that you can find. And after that, what you need to do is just to tap it. I would not recommend to tap it over a glass bowl because I'm always afraid that we can chip the glass and who knows where the chip, you know, will go. So you want to be aware of that. Thank you. And then after that, I am going to process my batter. Okay, so we're going to use a food processor, and I'm just going to process it, okay? So I'm doing that rocking motion right now because I just want to make sure that all of my ingredients will go at the bottom of my food processor to hit the head blade. And I like to take a spatula, you know, and just go around and scrape whatever can be stuck on the side of my vessel, and I'm just going to process again. So that will be the perfect time that you want to stop your food processor. Nothing is moving anymore. If you leave it on, nothing will happen. okay? If at some point your batter is a little bit too dry, like I said, you can always use the soaked water from the dry figs, okay? And I've done it in the past, and it's just sometimes it's a matter of how much water your sunflowers seeds will absorb water, or how much water your figs will absorb water. So this is what I am looking for right now. Okay, so then I am going to use a glass bowl, and I am going to add my mixture in here. So always make sure not to, be careful with the S blade. Either you want to remove it at some point, like that, or you can always hold it, you know, by the little opening at the bottom of your food processor. Okay. Then, as you see in your recipe, it says to add the onions right after. Either you can do that or you can add it right after, okay? This is why I wrote on my recipes that the onion needs to be minced and finely minced. When it's finely minced, I don't really like to over-process it because they're going to turn into water and they're just going to start, you know, releasing too much gas. So either way you can do it, but I prefer, so you can take a note on your recipe. That's what I found out when I did it the last time. So here I have a sweet onion. You can use regular onions if you want to. If they are really strong, it's going to give a strong flavor to your bread. So what you can do is you can have your onion soaked into water with a little bit of salt and lemon juice, maybe for an hour, and then it's going to release the strong flavor of your onions, okay? If you cannot find any sweet onions. But I prefer to use a sweet onion, so I don't worry about soaking. But if you have to, you can. And it says in your recipe to use a medium, a sweet onion. And one more time, when I went shopping, they only have big sweet onions. So I am going to use only half of these sweet onions, okay? I think one will be a little bit too much for my batter. At least if you are in love with onions, go for it, okay? I'm not stopping you for that. So as you saw, I just cut the shoot of my sweet onions, and this is the root here. So I'm going to cut my onion in half, okay? Then we can put this aside. Thank you, Chris. And then I am going to remove the first or second layer of my onion, depending of when I am peeling. If I see that my layer here is too dry, I just need to peel it off here. And as we all know, as chef, okay, the onion here has natural striation, right? So what I am looking for right now is a really finely minced, okay, cut. So I am going to take my chef knife, and now I am going to have my chef knife going from one side to another, holding my knife to an angle, and I'm just going to follow the striation without cutting, you know, to the root, okay? Because this is going to hold my onions together, okay? And I am going to go really slowly here so you guys can see. Okay, so I am trying to just follow those really fine striation. It's easier to follow a red onion because you can see that the striation are white and your onion is red. So this is white to white. So, and you don't need, you know, to go fast. You can enjoy this beautiful moment. It's kind of zen. And you will not cry if you are using a sweet onion, which is, you know, the best part of that task. Okay, so as you see here, I am going around it. And I like to keep my index here just to have my knife just being put at the right place. And then after that, I'm going to switch my hands because now I'm going to cut on the other side. And as you are cutting, just make sure that you are really in a stable position, comfortable, happy, no negative thoughts. Just enjoy the moment. And then after that, what I would do, I'm just going to put this aside here. Then after that, as you see, my onion is holding together, right? So then what I would do is I would just cut my onions here. This is really big, so, okay. I would probably, you know, have that rocking motion if I was having, you know, a smaller knife, but for the purpose of, you know, the size of my onions, I will just go and cut it. So as you see here, my cut is really nice and fine. Okay, and I had just decided that this is enough. Okay, so my beautiful onions here are all cut. and totally like really finely diced. And this is what I am looking for. Okay, so I am going to take back my batter. Thank you. And then I am going to add my onions. Okay. And then if I'm going back to my recipe, I think that I need to add my chia gel. And then after that, I am going to add more ingredients, which will be black olives and rosemary oil. So here, as you see, in 15 minutes, this is how it looks like. Okay? So you can have a breakfast right here on the go in the morning with chia. And if you have any leftover, you can leave it in your refrigerator. It's going to last at least for a week. You can add, you can use almond milk. You can add rice milk if you like rice milk. You can add juice. You can add coconut water. Coconut water, though, is not going to last that long because at some point coconut water will turn sour. But definitely with water, it can last for a long time. Okay? And then I am going to add, look at this here. Beautiful gel here. So nutritious. Okay. So I am having here. And at this point, I love to play with food. And I'm just going back to my own culture or whatever. We love bread. I love bread. And it's a thing. I love bread. What can I say? So it's a big dough there. And I just love to net it, okay? And of course, here at the school, we are wearing gloves for sanitary safety or sanitary purposes, but at home, just go for it, right? And you just want to make sure to have all of your ingredients and the batter really nicely mixed, okay? And if you see any pieces of onions like this, I just capture one that is too big. Even you want to leave it there or just put it aside. Okay. This is the batter that I am looking for, okay? And then I will ask Chris to add some pitted sun-dried olives, okay? So the pits were removed, and then after that they were chopped, okay? So this is going to give me some more Mediterranean flavor. And I am going to add some essential oil, and I am using the Young Living, and I'm going to use rosemary. You can use regular rosemary if you want. It doesn't really matter. But I love to use essential oils into my food. So I need 5 drops. Okay, so it's going to come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is very strong. When you are playing with essential oils, don't put more, maybe less, it's okay. But if you go more, you're going to have to expect, really strong flavor. Rosemary or lavender, all of them, okay? And I can smell the rosemary here. Can you smell it? This is the first row. Can you smell it? You can say no. That's okay. But I can smell it because I'm way above it. Okay. So that will be my batter that I am looking for. And then I'm just going to have to divide my batter in half. And I can highball it. If you really want to have it really precise, you can measure it and then after that divide it in 2. But I'm going to go highball, okay? So I would love to have a dehydrator tray right in front of me. Thank you very much, Krista. And then I am just going to eyeball it and go half of my batter. That's about it. Okay. And then after that, of course, I am going to use a dehydrator tray with a Teflon sheet or non-stick sheet, because if I would not use a Teflon sheet, it will go through my mesh cream, right? So you don't want to do that. Then I like to use a offset spatula. I like to use a medium one. A small one could make it, but I'm using the whole sheet, okay? So it's going to take me less time, and I'm going to have more control when I'm going to press down my batter. And here I am going to just spread it. And as you see, we can see some olives on top. This is why I like that bread. Reminds me of country bread. So there's a lot of flavor and a lot of texture. And as you see, when I am spreading, I'm holding my Teflon sheet. If I'm not, it's just going to travel, okay, on my counter. And I am looking for a square shape. And I love to spread. So I am just spreading here. Always not stroking, okay, but just always gliding on top, okay? It makes your life easier, okay? And this is a really good skill that you should develop, being a good spreader. And then, as I am spreading, I am using the backside of my offset spatula just to shape, okay, my bread dough. So if I'm going for a round shape, I will just go for a round shape. And now I am looking for a square shape. So here we go. So you want to spread your batter about a 1/4 inch thick. The thicker it will be, the longer it will take in your dehydrator. The thinner it will be, they might turn into crackers. If you love crackers and you want to turn them into crackers, go for it. But this recipe is for bread. And this is a really good recipe for crackers too. So you can have it thinner if you want. So here I am shaping again my bread. Oh, I'm doing good on time. Okay. So as you see here, and when I'm building my corner, I like to bring some batter from each side, and then after that, I will square my corner right here, okay? So you can play with this all day long. You can do it again and again and again if you want to. So I used to spread a lot, so I'm still, but less. Okay, so we have a little piece of olives here, so I can remove it. You just play again with that side. Okay. So then after that, from here, it's up to you how you want to divide your bread. Do you want big slices? Do you want to have small slices? It is up to you, okay? So usually what I like to do is I like to have the regular size of bread, so I will divide my batter into 9 perfect square. So this here will be divided into third first. So I will probably go back and forth here and back and forth here, okay? I'm using an offset spatula. If you want to use your knife, I don't recommend it, but if you want to use your knife, use the top of your knife and not the edge or the blade itself. You will damage your Teflon sheet, and they are $10 each. And then here you go. So you will have your 9 square. If you want to, you can divide them into toast. However you want, you want to have them. If you want them, have them to have into triangle, then you will go from one corner to another. So you, like I said, you can play with that all day. Okay, and then you would put it in the dehydrator for at least 6 to 8 hours. And then after that, you will remove it from the dehydrator. So here I do have a dehydrator right here. Okay, this is an Excalibur. This is a 5 tray. You can buy a 9 tray if you want. And there's a timer and a temperature button here that you just need to adjust. So usually we go with between 105 and 115. Okay, so after like 6 or 8 hours of dehydration, then you would take out your tray. You would put another one on top without the Teflon sheet. Put it on top, and then you will revert it. Okay, and then after that you would peel off your Teflon sheet, which I cannot do right now because my batter is too wet. But this is what you would do, and then after that you just would return your bread into the dehydrator maybe for another 4 hours. If you let it go for hours, it will turn into crackers. It's up to you, depending on what you are looking for at a final product. Okay? So then after that, what we can do is I can have this here, and this is how it's going to be presented to you. And as you see here, my bread is nice and pliable. Okay? It's not too hard, and this is what I like about bread. Okay? So as you see, it's on a brown color, dark brown color, and I can see the pieces of figs and little pieces of olives, and I have my garlic butter right here. Okay, very easy. This is the butter that we are making here at Living Light, but I added a little bit of parsley and a little bit of garlic. That's it. Okay, and then you can have your butter right here. And you can add, like I said, a little bit of tomatoes. So if ever you have extra tomatoes at home, what I will recommend you, and those are heirloom tomatoes, by the way, pretty sweet. And then what you can do is you can cut them, put them in the dehydrator, and before that, mix it with a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, Italian seasoning, what kind of seasoning you have, and put it in the dehydrator using a Teflon sheet. Leave them for a couple of hours, maybe 3-4 hours. And those were dehydrated at least for 6 to 8. So they are a little bit on the dry side. But they are good. And that will have, that will be one of the way that you can use the bread. Okay? So this is what is going to be served to you a little bit later on, a little bit smaller. Okay? All right, so that will be for my bread recipe. Then after that, we're going to switch to pinwheel. So here, you see my chia here? What time did you add the water? Maybe 45 minutes ago? So in 45 minutes, this is a way thicker than what I just used, okay, for my bread. So what I am going to show you now and talk to you about is the pinwheel. Okay, I'm going to use that here. So the pinwheel, the same thing that I did with the bread, is that what I did is I had my chia seeds here, okay, and then after that I add some maple syrup just to sweeten it a little bit, just to give some flavor. And another essential oil that I love to work with is thieves, okay? And it smells really strong, spicy, and it's made with cloves, lemon extract, rosemary, eucalyptus, cinnamon bark, okay? I'm going to answer your question right after. Okay, and I need to put, I can't remember by heart, four things. Thank you. 4 drops, okay. And this is very strong. So thief is really good if ever you have a sore throat. That's perfect for you. Give you some energy too. It can, I don't know the page. This is the pinwheel cookies. It's the thieves scented pinwheels with chocolate sauce and caramel. It's not in there. Oh man, now I'm mad. Okay, so let me keep on going and I can tell you. So there was 2 cups of chia gel first. And I added a 1/4 cup of maple syrup and 4 drops of thieves. And what I would do from here is I would take half of the batter and pour it over my nonstick sheet. And the other half will be done later in the back, okay? So as you see here, this is pretty thick, okay? So I am going to use another medium offset spatula. I think you're going to have to go and get the half pinwheel I'm supposed to cut. Thank you. And here, what I need to do is I just need to spread it. What I can do, since you don't have the recipe, I am going to tell you the amount as I am going through. And then after my demo, for the people who are here, I can stand in the front and we can, I can tell you again, okay? Just because we're live streaming. How many cups of? So it's half a cup of chia with 2 cups of water. So you are looking for 2 cups of chia gel. And as you see here again, I'm trying to shape almost a square, okay? A square shape. And I just want to make sure this is all even and all the same thickness. And then I will put it in my dehydrator for maybe about 6 to 8 hours. So when this is ready, okay, when it is totally dehydrated, it's a really pliable sheet. And this is what it looks like. If you are removing the chia gel here, okay, from the Teflex sheet and leave it in your dehydrator, it's going to turn into a paper thin texture. So it's going to break down, it's going to dry out. So when you are peeling off your sheet here, okay, to form the pinwheel, those guys should be ready to use right away. And like I said, if you put it back in the dehydrator, it will still be good, but it won't stay pliable like that, okay? So the Teflex sheet is kind of keeping the moisture between the mixture, okay, and between the Teflex sheet, okay? So this is how it looks like, okay? And this is what I'm going to use to shape my pinwheel, okay? So this is done. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, and then I am going to use in my pinwheel, I'm going to use a chocolate sauce and a caramel sauce, okay? So everybody knows how to make, caramel sauce and chocolate sauce. You just put everything. You can use a food processor, or you can use a Vitamix if you want to, or a regular blender. But when you're making a chocolate sauce and you put it in your refrigerator, this is what it's going to look like. And you want to have, you want to spread this. So the only thing that you need to do is take it out of your refrigerator, take it out for the cooler, and just put it back in your food processor. Okay? And just by the magic of the food processor, my S-blade will just turn and turn and turn. It will create some heat. And eventually, my chocolate sauce, okay, will turn into a, not a liquid, but a paste form. So, okay, so for my chocolate sauce, I'm going to say that because we're live stream, okay? So for the chocolate sauce, it's 1 cup of cacao powder, a 1/3 cup of coconut oil into liquid form, a 1/3 cup of cacao butter into liquid form, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup at room temperature. And room temperature is pretty important here because you have your coconut oil and your cacao butter into liquid. When they're not turned into liquid, they look into, they look solid, right? So if you're adding anything cold to my liquid, then it's going to turn back into solid. So you're not going to have a well mixture into your food processor, okay? And then we are adding a 1 vanilla bean, split in half and only the inside removed, and add it to my food processor. And 1 tablespoon of lecithin that you would add when the chocolate sauce is made. So you're just mixing all of the ingredients, and then the lecithin powder should be added at the end. And the lecithin is an emulsifier which will bind the liquid and the fat together, okay? So let me go here and turn this on. And it's going to need some help. And I was expecting that. Okay. It's moving slowly, but it's moving, right? I don't know if you remember when you saw it at the beginning, but now I have a really nice paste. Beautiful, chocolate to spread. And this is what I am looking for, okay? So at the beginning, it was really solid, okay? You can leave this here. And let me just give another shot. Thank you. Okay. And then for the caramel sauce, which it says for the caramel sauce, you can put everything in a Vitamix. And the caramel sauce is 1 cup of date paste at room temperature, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup at room temperature again, and now you know why. Because I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. And when the oil is on a solid form, this is how it looks like, okay? It's kind of a white color. And then after that, I'm going to use another vanilla bean, split in half. Of course, we need to scrape the inside, a pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of salt, okay? I already have my sauces ready, okay, because I knew that I would have not enough time to do that. And then, okay, so this is my caramel sauce. This is my pinwheel here. No, I don't need that. Okay, so let's start. I'm looking for this. Okay, so what I would do first is I would spread my chocolate batter. Okay, and whatever, the pinwheel usually is something that we roll, right? So I'm looking for that. So I would spread some chocolate here, okay? And I like to start spreading, okay, on my pinwheel, the part that is closer to me, and just spread it maybe 3/4 way, okay? I want to leave a little room here, and you will understand why a little bit later. Okay, and then I like to just spread it like that. Okay, and this sauce is bitter. So if you taste it at home and you think it's too bitter, maybe it is, but the caramel sauce is very sweet. So combining the bitter and the sweet, you will just have to me, the perfect mix of flavor in here. And the chia has a little bit of maple syrup, and if you don't like maple syrup, you can use agave. There's no question about that. I'm from the East. I love maple syrup. So, so you can use maple syrup or agave if you want, and I have the thieves. So when you will take a bite of those pinwheel, you will see that the chia seeds will kind of melt into your mouth, which I like the feeling of that in my mouth. And then you will hit the caramel sauce and the chocolate. Okay, so here I have my chocolate sauce. And I'll take a little bit of caramel sauce. So the caramel sauce, after it is refrigerated, will never get hard. It will always stay soft. And then I would just spread my caramel here. Okay. And then after that, I can start rolling. Okay. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then I'm just lifting, you know, the part that is close to me. And I'm just going to start rolling. And you don't want to press too hard, okay, but firm enough so you know the shape of the pinwheel will stay. And now you understand why I didn't put any filling here. Just my caramel sauce will just go, okay? And if you have too much, it's fine. This is a good sealer right here, and this is what I am looking for. So that's okay. I will just take it off. And I will have more caramel sauce for me. Okay, and here you go. And you have your pinwheel. So what you would do from there is you would put it in your refrigerator. I would say at least for 2 to 4 hours, so overnight it's better. And then after that, you know, you can cut it. And this is what it looks like when you are cutting it. And this is what it looks like when it is done. Okay, so I can hold it in my hand. It's pretty warm, okay, but you don't want to leave it too long at room temperature because the chocolate will turn into not a liquid form, but you know, very soft. And then after that, what you would do is you would take a knife, a good chef knife or serrated knife, and you would cut, you know, the pinwheel the way that you want. So usually I make them really large, and I like to have my pinwheel cut it in half, and take the other half and cut it in half, okay. So here what I can do is I can take this half here and cut it in half. And then after that, when you're cutting, just make sure to wipe off your knife, and then you can cut it the way that you like. And as you see, the caramel here is very soft, okay? So that will be your beautiful pinwheel here. They're sweet. I had to taste them this morning at 7:30. Pretty good. So, and this is the beautiful pinwheel with caramel sauce and chocolate sauce and scented with thieves. Those are pretty good and pretty easy to make. And I did not mention that, but I do recommend you, if you are really interested into chia. This book is it's really nice. I know there's a lot of books about chia seed, but this one is really nice. Gives a lot of information. There has recipe in the back. They're not all raw, but I think they're almost all vegan. But it's pretty nice, and I really like it. And that's about it. Thank you very much. I am done with my demo, and I'm going just to stop in front to answer your question. Thank you. So you need to show your ticket if you want to have a sample. I know. Okay, any question?
Yes.
Yes. Is that recipe is in that book? No, it is not.
Can you type it up for us? Because it's not in this book either. It's not in
Which one?
It's not in
the book
here.
that you paid for, the recipes, it's not in there.
My bread is not in that recipe.
No.
My recipes, the pinwheels are not in there, but the, yes, I will print it for you, no problem. Huh?
Thank you.
It's already typed. I just need the time to go downstairs in the office and print it. And what I am going to do is I'm going to print a bunch and leave it in the back so you guys can come later on and I can, you can have it.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Martine,
Yes?
can you use fresh figs?
So the question is, can you use fresh figs for making the bread? Yes, you can, but your batter will be a little bit more watery than usual. And you're not going to have the same sugar as you are expecting from the dry figs. Dry figs are really high in sugar. So it will have, you will have a different texture probably and a different taste. Yes?
Different seed than sunflower. Can you use hemp seed or?
Okay, the question is, can you use any kind of other seeds to make the bread, like hemp seeds or pumpkin seeds? If you want to, you can. I was just going with the Mediterranean flavor, and this is why I did use sunflowers. And yes, you can, definitely. Hemp seeds are a little bit more smaller, so I've never tried that recipe with it, but, give it a try and let me know. Okay? Yes?
Can you use carob instead of the chocolate?
So the question is, can you use carob powder instead of cacao powder for the pinwheel? Of course you can. Usually carob powder is sweeter, so you will end up maybe with a sweeter candy. So maybe you can adjust the flavor and maybe add a little bit of salt just to balance it. Okay?
This is wonderful.
Thank you.
What could you add instead of the thieves? Would there be?
So the question is what would you add instead of the thieves? You can add, different kind of culinary essential oil if you want to. You can use lavender, you can use lemon, you can use citrus, you can use orange, whatever you want. This is your recipe now, you play with it. And thank you. Okay, well, enjoy.